Welcome to 5 Minutes, your quick dive into the wide-ranging world of insurance, technology, and leadership. I'm Miguel Edwards, and I'll be your guide as we explore these topics that are transforming not just the insurance industry, but the business world at large. Along with sharing observations I've made over the span of my career in insurance, technology, and operations, I'll be chatting with some of the brightest minds in business and leadership. Whether you're a seasoned executive or a rising star, an industry expert, or just curious about how technology is revolutionizing insurance, this is your perfect spot for your weekly dose of insights. This is 5 Minutes. In the pre-show, I was telling you, Erin, about a webinar that we just did yesterday, and the topic of that webinar was AI compliance. And one of the things that the chief compliance officer we were talking to, Ron Hamilton, he explained that that carriers need to make sure that they're treating risks around AI the same, whether it's internal or third-party tooling. What are you guys doing? What are you seeing as kind of the trends to be able to, for your clients, talk through the use of AI so that they have that comfort level since they own the compliance risk associated with it? What are you guys doing to kind of to share, whether it's explainability, whether it's model governance? Like, how are you guys getting your clients comfortable?
So I would say in the early stages, it's largely about having human validation on nearly in nearly every step of the journey. I don't think that any of us would be comfortable having AI make decisions, certainly when it comes to making coverage decisions, issuing payments, things of that nature, but making sure that the clients know that we have a human in the loop throughout the entirety of the journey. And that's in the early stages. I think when we get to a point where we have tens of thousands of rows of data that indicate a certain level of accuracy and success, we may be able to go forth and say, this is the comfort level that we have with this particular task, transaction, or activity, and ensure that they have the risk appetite to move forward with that. But in the near term, anything that we feel could be anything that we do not have a high level of confidence in its accuracy or consistency, it's being validated by a human in the loop, and we're getting good responses to that. So long as that's something that is a short-term solution, and over time, as confidence grows, AI can manage more of the process.
Shifting gears on you here a little bit, you know, I imagine that, you know, there are a number of carriers that may be watching this and curious as to, you know, what are the metrics, the KPIs that one of your clients would want to look at that helps them measure the ROI, the value proposition of leveraging a service like yours, and then obviously how are you going to stand out with other, you know, potential service offerings? So what are the kind of KPIs that you're sharing and celebrating with your clients?
Definitely. And there's several. So first I would start with cycle times. So if we have the ability to leverage the right resources and technology to automate certain pieces, provide critical decision support, reduce the burden and the administrative burden on the adjuster's desk, we will see a decrease in the amount of time that it takes to get a claim from first notice of loss report ultimately to resolution. And we all know that the minute or hour or day that a claim stays open, the more expensive it gets. So a closed claim or a resolved claim is a good thing. So cycle times is a big piece. The other piece, I think, is especially in the TPA world, where you can tend in some of the traditional organizations to have a little bit of a revolving door of talent. You know, people go from place to place and they have other opportunities. Consistency in the results, right? So you're seeing consistent coverage decisioning, you're seeing consistent quality, you're seeing consistent output. That's something that we stand to benefit from, not only because AI is in the loop, but also we're cultivating a culture at Elysian that makes adjusters want to stay because they're actually feeling like they're adding value and they're part of this journey and process. I would say in the future, there will be benefits by way of cost mitigation. So AI is very good at picking up on things like potentially duplicative payments, or maybe failure to recognize a subrogation opportunity, or failure to identify the ability to assess liability on another party that was involved in a loss. And when in the claim management system that we operate out of, think of it as having kind of a real-time QA that's happening at all times. The technology is actually auditing the work that's being done on the file and being able to call out in real time, this is a missed opportunity, this is a potential error, this is a potential mistake. And those are all real-time benefits that the client will be able to realize because we have someone kind of catching those things in addition to the adjuster. Yeah. So those would be the key bits. And then ultimately, once we're providing more end-to-end claim management for first-party claims, it will drive down to Net Promoter Score. So how are the customers actually responding to the service that we're being able to provide and the results that we're delivering?
Thank you for joining this episode of 5 Minutes. If you've enjoyed our discussion, we'd love for you to share it with anyone else you think might find it interesting. Also, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on and hit that bell to stay on top of the game with our practical 5-minute episodes. We look forward to seeing you again next week.